365 Sports.
Welcome back to another episode of 365 Sports Mizzou. Happy Monday morning here from Rogue Media. My name is Davis Wilson. Appreciate everybody for being here. The college basketball regular season is officially over, and Selection Sunday for the NCAA tournament takes place in less than a week. It'll be next Sunday. Next Sunday, by the way, shaping up to be a great Sunday. You have Selection Sunday at 5 o'clock Central, 6 Eastern. And then after that, you have the Oscars at 6 Central, I think. So kind of, you'll go right from hopefully watching Missouri make the tournament to watching the Oscars, if that's what you want to do. So that's cool. And then I think there's also a good isn't the Players Championship next Sunday too? The final round of the Players Championship will be on Sunday too. So yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a good Sunday. But that's not really what we're talking about right now. We're talking about Missouri hoops after a week of joy and exuberance and excitement after Missouri beat Tennessee and Mississippi State. All they really had to do was win one, and you're for sure in. They went 0-2. They lost by a very healthy margin to Oklahoma, and then they lost in overtime at home to Arkansas. So they went 0-2. They finish up the season 20-11 with a 10-8 record in the SEC. I'm going to talk about the game first, then we'll talk about the season as a whole and what all this means. But the game, here's what happens. Missouri gets off to a bad start. Arkansas jumps out to a big lead. It's looking bad, and then Missouri starts to kind of crawl its way back into the game. You have, I think it was kind of Jaden Stone sparked some moments. It was Mark Mitchell. Mark Mitchell, we'll talk about him. Had 32 points on senior day in Columbia, a career high, was unstoppable, was 11 of 20 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 9 of 11 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, an incredible send-off for Mark Mitchell. Wish that, his great performance would lead to a win, but Missouri loses in overtime. And, there's a lot that went wrong, but Missouri deserves credit for bouncing back after a really bad start where Arkansas jumps all over them. They climb their way back in. At halftime, it's a 3-point deficit for the Tigers. And then the second half is much of the same. It's back and forth. Missouri plays well. It looks like Missouri is kind of taking control of the game. They take the lead, and then at a certain point, it's flipping back and forth. There's 7 or 8 lead changes. There's a bunch of ties that are happening. Missouri gets the last shot. I did not like the last shot call. I think there's no reason for it not to be in the hands of Mark Mitchell. Instead, it's Theo Barrett. He gets a decent look. It's kind of a floater, but came off the rim, and you go to overtime. And there's been a couple times this season where it feels like the game-winning opportunities, you got to have a better call. I would love to see it in the hands of Mark Mitchell. There's no reason not to, because in this game he was either going to score or get fouled. He's unstoppable. So I would have liked to see Mark Mitchell with the ball there for sure. So Missouri goes to overtime. Arkansas gets out to a lead. Missouri kind of responds. Trent Pierce knocks down a big-time 3 to take the lead. And then it's Missouri's old nemesis, Trayvon Brazile, that kind of puts it out of reach almost, knocking down a 3. He had 19 points in his final return to Columbia. 19 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, a block. I begrudgingly have to admit that it was a pretty good game for him. And, that shot there in overtime kind of put it away for Arkansas. Arkansas, by the way, didn't have Darius Acuff, which Like, Arkansas is a great team even without Acuff, but it would have been nice to see Missouri take advantage of the fact that they didn't have their best player, and they really couldn't. Um, they gave up 88 points. It was kind of felt similar actually to the other Arkansas game where they gave up 94 points. It's like Missouri's offense worked pretty well. They just couldn't get enough stops, and that's ultimately what it came down to. Arkansas shot 49% from the field. Missouri shot 48% from the field. Here's where the difference was. Arkansas shot 50% from three. Missouri, um, that's a big discrepancy there. Missouri actually outshot Arkansas from the free throw line. They were 18 of 24 for 75%. Arkansas was just 64%. Missouri got out rebounded 38 to 34, got out assisted, got out stolen. They turned the ball over more. Let's see, anything else that they were. Arkansas led for 64% of this game. Their largest lead was 15 points. That was right there in the beginning of the game, too. It was like right away. Missouri had more points in the paint, just by 4 points, 48 points in the paint for Missouri, 44 for Arkansas. Like, I think the lesson here from this season, one of them, is that Arkansas is a really good team, and I'm going to be picking them to go really far in my bracket whenever that comes out. I think they have everything that you kind of look for in a team that's bound to make a run in the NCAA tournament. They did it last year as a much worse regular season team. They still made a run. They have an experienced coach in Calipari. They've got a ton of experience. Like, they have older guys like Trevon Brazile. Like, he's been playing college basketball since I was a freshman in college, and that was 5 years ago. So, he's been around. Nick Pringle's played like 5 years of college basketball as well. They have experience, and then they have like the true sort of like they have the true star power of Darius Acuff Jr. That's a guy that is really, obviously a freshman, a young guy who fills it up. Malik Thomas, another guy. I'm not going to talk too much about Arkansas, but I don't think Missouri should feel terrible about losing twice to Arkansas. I know, like, it's a rivalry and you want to win one of them, especially because they were both pretty gettable, and Missouri played well in both games up until the end. But yeah, Arkansas is good, and I think that they're better than Missouri. I don't think anyone should have any problem admitting that. Arkansas is a better team than Missouri, and they had more than Missouri could handle in both games. What was really frustrating, though, like, you're allowed to be frustrated with this loss for this reason. The end of the game execution in overtime was just god awful. Missouri, like, I mentioned how Brazile hit the three to kind of boost them and really kind of almost put it away from Missouri, but it did not have to be like that. Missouri had opportunities. They missed a shot. I think it was I want to say it was a 1-point game, and they have to foul because you're at that point. Actually, I can just go look at this. I can look at the game log. It just was really maddening to watch, obviously. This game log. So, yeah, okay. So here's how this went. So Missouri ties the game. Sean Phillips makes a layup. It's 81-81 with 1:45 left. The next thing that happens, Sean Phillips makes one free throw, taking a 1-point lead, 82-81 with 51 seconds left. Then comes a Trevon Brazile three, a 26-footer. Puts Arkansas up by 2. Missouri turns the ball over, and Arkansas takes a timeout. So they get their defenders in. It was actually, I thought Anthony Robinson played pretty good defense, like got up close. It felt like in football when there's when the quarterback underthrows it and the receiver tries to come back to get it and it's a pass interference, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but it felt like that. Nonetheless, it was a foul. Malik Ewan for Arkansas misses the free throw. Tio Barrett rebounds it. This is where things get wild. Tio Barrett, as much as I love him and as much as he's been great this season, he has a ton that he needs to work on if he wants to be like a premier guard that you can trust. He will turn the ball over like no man's business when he gets going out of control. He was completely out of control. You have the ball with less than 20 seconds left, down by 2, and you just like freak out and run full speed down the court and turn it over. They turn the ball over with 12 seconds left to DJ Wagner. I think actually Brazil forces the turnover or gives it to DJ Wagner. DJ Wagner is fouled by Trent Pierce. They go to the free throw line. 9 seconds left. DJ Wagner misses both free throws. If he makes one of them, it's a 3-point game, and it's not over, but he misses 2, and now Missouri not only has a chance to tie it, they have a chance to win, except that they can't get the defensive rebound off a free throw. Malik Ewan gets the rebound. Sean Phillips wasn't in the game. I don't know why. Trent Burns and Sean Phillips should have been in the game at this point. Like, get the rebound. That is your priority. They don't get the rebound. Malik Ewan, who missed the free throw earlier, makes 2 free throws, ices the game. It's over. They exchange points. Tio Barrett gets a bucket to cut it to 2, and then, golly, this light keeps going off. And then there's more free throws. Arkansas wins it by 4. Inexcusable execution late in the game. Once again, I mean, that's happened a couple times in these close games where it's just like, what the hell is Missouri doing? Tio Barrett had 2 turnovers. One of them was the most crucial one of the game. You just cannot have that. Anthony Robinson played more minutes than Tio Barrett, I feel like for the first time in a long time. He fouled out. He played 33 minutes, 5 points. He's not anything on offense. He's not going to give you much offensively. He did have 5 assists and 0 turnovers, which I think is pretty good. He had 5, 5, and 3. That's not a terrible stat line, but when you're Anthony Robinson, you should, like, again, it's just the expectations for him in the beginning of the season were higher than they should have been. And now he's, when he doesn't score, it hurts this team. Sean Phillips had 13. Tio Barrett had 10 points. Trent Pierce had 13 points, made 3 threes. Mark Mitchell had 32. Jaden Stone had 11. Trent Burns only played 5 minutes. Didn't record a single stat. Anthony Robinson played 33 minutes, 5 points. Jacob Cruz 10 minutes, 0 points, or 1 rebound. So Missouri loses the regular season finale at home, senior day. And let's talk about what that loss means for Missouri. It means that they are locked into the 8th seed of the SEC tournament, which gives them 1 bye. If they had won, so what happened is if they had beat Arkansas, which they should have done, they had chances to beat Arkansas, they would have had a double bye because they would have been the 4 seed because Vanderbilt beat Tennessee. And Missouri has the tiebreaker over Vanderbilt. So they would have been in the quarterfinals right away in this tournament. Instead, they get 1 bye, and they will play the winner of Wednesday afternoon's game, actually Wednesday morning game for me. This is an 11:30 Central Time tip between LSU and Kentucky on Wednesday. They'll play the winner of that game at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday. Here's how the SEC finishes. Florida's your 1. Then it goes Alabama, Arkansas, Vanderbilt. Those are your 4 double byes. And then it goes Tennessee, Texas A&M, Georgia, Missouri. And then it is Kentucky, Texas, Oklahoma, Auburn, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and LSU. So LSU, Kentucky, 11:30 on Wednesday. The winner of that will play Missouri. Obviously, if you're Missouri, you beat Kentucky already. So if LSU can win and you can, I think it would be great if Missouri can get one more win. It'll feel much better about. I would feel much better about them on Selection Sunday. I think they're going to make the tournament regardless, but just one more win would lock it in. So whoever wins that game, Missouri beat Kentucky already, like I said, but that's a really good team. It would be a tough game. The other matchups in the first round at 2 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, you have Mississippi State versus Auburn. At 6 o'clock, you have Ole Miss at Texas, a little Chris Beard reunion thing. And then at 8:30 on Wednesday, you have South Carolina versus Oklahoma. On Thursday, the first game of the day is Missouri at 11:30. They play the winner, like I said, of LSU, Kentucky. Then at 2 o'clock, Tennessee will play the winner of Mississippi State versus Auburn. At 6 o'clock, Georgia will play the winner of Ole Miss and Texas. And at 8:30, Texas A&M will play the winner of South Carolina and Oklahoma. So that is kind of how the bracket looks. Would have been nice to get the double bye if you're Missouri, but they can't do it. And that is that. Updated rankings. KenPom has Missouri as the 50th best team in the country. Net rankings, they're 60th. Torvik rankings, they're 45th. CBS Sports Bracketology has Missouri as one of the last 4 teams in. ESPN has them in the category of should be in, and they are a 10 seed in Joe Lunardi's bracketology. On 3, bracketology has Missouri as one of the last 4 byes. So they are still in the field after a disappointing 0-2 week. But that is largely in part because a lot of the other bubble teams had bad weeks too. So that it kind of was no harm, no foul for Missouri. Like I said, Selection Sunday, a week from yesterday, Sunday, obviously. We already have a couple automatic bids punched in. The Ohio Valley Conference champion is the Tennessee State Tigers. Congratulations to the Tennessee State Tigers. What else? Let me see. Sorry. The Atlantic Sun Conference champion is Queens, the Queens Royals. The Big South champion is the High Point Panthers. The Missouri Valley champion is the Northern Iowa Panthers. The Summit League champions are the North Dakota State Bison. So those are your 5 auto bids in the bracket already. The rest will be filled out as the week goes on. If you're interested at all, there are a couple of conference championship games today. The SoCon championship game is today, and the Sun Belt championship game is today. That the SoCon game is between East Tennessee State and Furman. That is today at 6 o'clock. And then the Sun Belt championship is between Troy and Georgia Southern. And that game is also at 6 o'clock. I can't tell if this is Eastern time or Standard or Central. 6 or 7 o'clock, actually. Let's see. Georgia Southern. That game is at 6 o'clock. Yeah. Troy versus Georgia Southern. So a couple games if you want to watch some conference championships happen tonight. You can. All right. I think that's all I have for basketball. I do really want to talk about Missouri baseball because I've been paying attention to this team all year. I always, as a student, I would always kind of pay attention in the beginning of the season to Missouri baseball because I wanted so badly to have a rooting interest in college baseball. It was always TCU for me. I grew up a TCU fan, and TCU is a great baseball program, so I always had a lot to root for. And So I always would kind of pay attention to Missouri baseball in the beginning of the year, and then it would get pretty bad, and they would start losing. In bunches as soon as SEC play came around, and sometimes they would lose games that they should have won also, which was always frustrating. I covered Missouri baseball my freshman year for the Maneater, and it just doesn't have much of a history of winning games. Recent history, I'll say that, recent history, since I've been a student. But right now they're sitting. They have a 12-game win streak. They're 14-2 overall. They're 9-0 at home. This most recent series was against UIC, which I looked up who this is. University of Illinois Chicago, UIC. So they have a 3-game, I think they have a 3-game series against UIC. They win the first game 9-8. The second game, they're down by, I think, 12-1. It gets postponed for weather. They resume on Saturday. Missouri storms back, wins the game 13-12, which is, just unbelievable. Yeah, this game was 12-1 after the third inning. Play gets postponed. Missouri wins at 13-12. And then the second game of that doubleheader on Saturday was 7-0. And then they beat UIC on Sunday yesterday 10-0. They're 14-2. They don't really have an super impressive win. But they're 14-2, and they're beating teams they should beat. They play Southern Indiana baseball. It was 9-4 in the. They're out of the Ohio Valley Conference. They play them at Taylor Stadium on Tuesday at 6:00, and then SEC play starts. They will host number 7 Auburn, and this is where things get real, and you start to figure out if this team is actually any good, worth paying attention to, whatever. Because Auburn's 13-2 overall. They've won 6 straight. They have wins over number 9 Florida State, number 15 Louisville. They're certainly more battle tested than Missouri is. But this is going to be your chance. You have a 3-game stint against Auburn. This is your chance to see, is this team any good? Are they any good? So, I'm paying attention, and I think it would be really fun if Missouri baseball was at least competitive and tried to make a push for even, I don't know, even if they got a little bit close to trying to qualify for postseason play. That would be fun because Missouri's never come close to that. So yeah, I don't I don't know exactly what to tell you because I'm not watching these games. Maybe I might start because, like I said, it's been fun. I'll read through some stats for you though. Tyler Macon. Just funny that Missouri baseball has a player named Tyler Macon. They used to have a football player named Tyler Macon. He's hitting .490. That's pretty good. He has 24 RBI. I think the team leader is Jace Woida, though, with 27. Missouri's scoring runs, and their pitching is decent, but the main thing is they're scoring runs. I'm going to start following them more closely because this could be fun. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself because they're beating up on bad teams, bad programs. But Missouri itself is a bad program, or it was. So there was a lot of times where you play a no-name school and they'd still lose. And in the last 12 games, that hasn't happened. So maybe worth paying attention to. All right, that's all I have for today, though. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk about something. I appreciate you guys being here. Have a good Monday. Have a good rest of your week.
365 Sports.